driving down the road?
Yeah, the white Chevrolet.
All right, we're live. Call the meeting to order, 6 p.m. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Wassey,
Here.
Derlin. Is he calling in?
Lance, Anthony has been called here.
Fitzgerald,
Here.
Hannah. Here. Jordan. Here. King.
Here.
McCusker is here. Nolan. Here. Stockdale. 8 present.
Did you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, thanks.
So the minutes of the regular meeting of the 16th and the special meeting of the 7th are attached. Can I get a recommendation to approve, please? Second?
Second.
Anyone have any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Student reports, please.
Hi, I'm Hayden Preddy, a senior class president, student government president in an athlete in high school. I'll be doing the student board report tonight. I'll start by talking about the junior high fall sports. The junior high boys cross country team's current record is 1-1. They placed third at the Lasagna Invitational at Wyalusing. At the Invitational, Isaiah Botsford placed 6th overall and Madden Fries placed 10th. The junior high girls cross country team's current record is 1-1, and at the Lasagna Invitational, Zoe Reese placed 10th. Both teams' next meet is tonight at home. The junior high softball team has a current record of 3 wins and 2 losses. With both their losses coming from Montgomery, they have started off their season very strong, and their most current win was on Wednesday the 14th with a score of 28-3. Their next game is today, Tuesday the 20th, away at South Williamsburg. Now on to varsity fall sports. I will just be highlighting the games that happened in the most previous week. The girls varsity soccer team played Muncie away on Tuesday the 13th and lost 7-0. And on Thursday the 15th took on Benton home and lost 0-8. And on Saturday the 17th took on Montgomery home and won 4-0. The girls' current record for the season is 1-4. The girls' head soccer coach says that the girls just got their first win and are taking a step in the right direction. Their next game is being held today, the 20th, at South Williamsport. The boys' varsity soccer team took on Northeast Bradford home on Monday the 12th and won 4-2. And on Wednesday the 14th, they took on Benton home and lost 1-5. Last night, the boys took on Troy away and won 0-8. The boys' current record for this season is 4-1. The boys' head soccer coach says that the boys are working hard and playing hard. Their next game will be held on Wednesday, the 21st, at Muncie. The varsity boys cross country team's current record is 0-2. The team placed 6th at the Lasagna Invitational at Wyalusing. Tucker Blasey is the lead varsity boys runner on the team. The varsity girls team current record is 0-2, and Libby Moore is the lead varsity girls runner on the team. Both teams' next meet is tonight at home. Now onto the varsity golf team. I will be highlighting the entirety of their season because today is their season finale. Unfortunately, they did not have a complete team for 2 of their 3 matches, but here are their individual scores for all the matches before today. At the White Deer League meet, Michaela's score was 64, Kurt 71, and Charlie 75. At Bell Springs, Michaela's score was 65, Kurt's 81, Charlie's 81, and Tyler's 83. At Mill Race, Michaela's score was 57, and Kurt's was 65. I will now talk about events going on at the school right now. Student government is now in the process of planning Homecoming 2022, which will be held on October 8th in the high school cafeteria. This previous weekend at the Bowhunters Festival on September 16th, 17th, and 18th, many students volunteered at the food booth and parking and supported both the school and the festival. That That is all I have for you this meeting. Thank you.
Awesome job, thanks a lot. Administrative reports, Dr. Zwai.
I don't have anything in addition to my report this evening.
I would like to remind parents that on October 5th, we will be hosting a parents' night that's K through 12. The elementary starts at 5:30 and the high school starts at 6. That's on Wednesday, October 5th. Nothing in addition to my report.
Thanks. Skip.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. McMahon.
Yes, Tremco actually started last week. Kind of surprised at the last minute. Later in the afternoon, they came with the vac truck, and they used that to remove all the aggregate off the roof, stone. They were back today, moving product in. They do have most of it up on the roof now. So, barring weather, if it's supposed to be decent here for the next few days, they're going to be starting the actual roof project.
Awesome.
So,
Good to see progress on that. Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah, I got a couple things. The first thing is I've been in contact with True Green this week. They're coming to spray our fields with fertilizer and weed killer on Friday this week. So this is probably the best because we don't have anything home the rest of the week. So just kind of an announcement. I talked to a lot of the coaches. They're all on board. So that should be done on Friday. I think we posted everything around the school. So we'll put something on Facebook and all that. That's the first thing. Second thing, as I've been in contact with a couple people, we are going to host the Mid-Penn Junior High Wrestling Championships this year. The date for that is on January 25th. So I believe there is 6 teams that will be here. And it's single elimination. The weigh-ins will start at 4 o'clock. First match will be at 5, second match at 6, third match will be at 7, and it'll be basically the same time length as a regular junior high and varsity dual meet that we would post anyhow. But I think it's a good opportunity, to host something here. So I'm excited about those 2 things. And I think that's pretty much all I have.
Good, that's awesome. What did you say the date was?
January 25th.
25th.
January 25th.
Mr. Davis.
In addition to my written report, I wanted to let the board know that the loan closed at the end of August. Everything was in order there, and our PCCD grant was submitted on August 31st. That's all.
Thank you. Is there anything else that I missed? Mr. Winfield. Do we have any public input?
We do have 2 forms. So should we go in the order that they were received? And Mary Paul. All right. And we have nothing online. All right.
Sure, go ahead.
Good evening. My concern is primarily with the soccer field, the far side, where all the bushes are. I don't know necessarily. I'm obviously coming into this. It's been several years, but I don't know if there's any possibility to maybe mimic the ball field, the baseball field, the height. We lose time on the clock. When a ball goes down in, I've been down in there. I know Ryan's tried trimming a little bit. I give up on the weekend try trimming. But when a ball gets down in there, it doesn't stop the clock. I know that doesn't affect baseball and softball, but more importantly, there's briars, there's poison ivy. There's just a lot of hazards down there. I know cutting it would be possibly a solution, but nevertheless, if the ball goes, and a lot of times we don't have a ball person to help out. I know a couple of games ago, I tried helping out behind a goal, and I got reprimanded for that. I wasn't supposed to, I didn't realize that. I was just trying to help out to move things along, but I'm not asking for sides, just that side. I know the cross country, I know they run through, and I took notes to the ball field. There are doors that you can put in that would make it accessible for them, but I think the thing that caught my eye the most was on a boys game, and I don't know who the little boy was, but I saw a little guy, somebody launched the ball, and he went down in there, and it worried me. I don't know what's down in there. For all I know, there could be rattlesnakes down there. I don't know. But I just feel it's a hazard, number one. Number two, I just think it would be more appropriate to have something like that mimics the ball field that would allow us to continue with our games if we're shorthanded. But even if we do have ball people, you could be down in there for, if it's the right soccer ball, you'd be down in there for 5 minutes trying to find something. And then unfortunately, you put another game ball in, if for some reason that gets kicked, then we have an issue. So I have not done any legwork. This is me just kind of getting my feet wet to see what everybody's opinion was, to see if it's something that could possibly happen. I know, a lot of schools, a lot of projects, they'll use that fencing for banners. Businesses will buy banners for a year, and that's easy money. And I think for me personally, I know like going to Bowman Field, going to different soccer, different baseball, softball events, it kind of looks cool, and it represents our community as far as who's out there and availability to do whatever the business may be. So people coming up that are, vacationing or hunting or whatever that come into this area, that are traveling in for games, they may see that. And it might be a plus too. I can't imagine that any business wouldn't be willing to pay, $300-400 for a year for a banner to put up. So that's at the point where I'm at right now. I'm just basically asking for that consideration to see if we can do something. I know a couple suggestions were the orange fencing, and quite frankly, I think that would be more of a headache. It's not as stable than to just do something permanent that we could utilize for money for the booster club moving forward. So, so at that point, I'm asking for the consideration maybe to do something there. I know it takes time, but if it's something that would be considered, I would gladly help to move things, to get pricing, whatever it may be that you need to make it easier to expedite it. Would I expect it this season? Absolutely not. But if it could, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's something for future reference for the boys and the girls. I know both of them kind of suffer on that a little bit. So,
All right.
So other than that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you.
What we'll do is basically turn your comments over to the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and then they can probably, I don't want to speak for them, get in contact with the booster to see, I'm sure that I don't think that's a monumental project, and it does make sense. I don't think that you're the first one that brought it up, but
I can't, quite frankly, since I was here in high school, I know it's been cut down a couple of times, I guess, but it surprises me. When I saw the ball field, I was like, wow, it's nice. But usually if you lose a baseball in the woods, the game keeps continuing, and hopefully it's a home run, so that's good. But with the soccer, it's different.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we should do. We'll kick it to the committee, have them beat it around a bit, and even get you as part of that conversation. And I think it's a positive idea for sure.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate
if
it.
you guys have any.
Did you go to your head coach?
I've talked to him a couple times about
Why
it.
isn't he here?
He's at the game in the south side. I wasn't able to go to that game this evening.
Okay. Did you go to the athletic director?
I'm sorry?
Did you go to the athletic director?
I had talked briefly about it. It's just been kind of something I've been throwing, but I thought, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the board meeting and see where it goes from there. And then, you know, whoever we have to have involved, then I'll gladly work with whoever or help whoever. I've thrown it out a couple times, but it was more of a, man, I really would like to have a fence here. The more I thought about it, that's what brought me here this evening, so.
There's a certain protocol to go through.
And I'm learning that as I go. So.
Thanks, Kurt.
Yep, thank you.
Mary?
Yeah, I'm wearing a couple hats tonight. Just want to say the homecoming, been talking to Doug as well as Jody Metzger. So on SCAN, Sullivan County Alumni Network, we're going to try to have an alumni run. We did our first one ever in 2019. So we're going to try it again this year. We've been kind of on the sidelines with COVID, but we've been allowed to participate this year. So we'll be there. We're going to organize a fun run probably like around 9 o'clock in the morning so we don't interfere with the soccer games. I think that they're 11 and 1, just told. So we'll try to do something like that, and we'll probably have a little stand selling T-shirts that day, but we'll send out an email to everyone that's signed up so far and let them know that we're doing this. Again, we're kind of new, a new entity, so we just want to invite everybody to come out that day.
All right.
And just on Lowe's Foundation, I'm just here to, if there's any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I see. Is this? Did we do anything with the building use form? that was
It's
sent?
part of homecoming activities, but however, when kids are running in it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry if you didn't hear me. I was just asking because I know you had submitted a building use form, but Doug was saying that it's part of the homecoming program, so I don't think there's really anything that we have to do fundamentally other than
Yeah, because you'll have
informational.
employees and students.
So
I don't think we did it last time. I think when I did that was for the
Yeah.
Lowe's Foundation that day.
okay.
So I don't think we did it in 2019. But
So I think we're good. Thanks for bringing it up. Lance, is there any other input came through?
There is not. Let me just refresh my page. No, there's not.
All right. The board has to go into a hopefully quick legal discussion, go into executive for a few minutes. I know I hate doing open the meeting, go to a session, but we have to do it. We'll try to make it as quick as possible. We'll be right back.
How, is it okay if I call you with my personal phone to bring you into the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call you when I get over there.
When you say that sentence, I thought you were saying something else.
Mary, have you met Sam? Sam Caleb?
I'll be amazed. I haven't been there in years.
Oh, it's been around for years?
Yeah, they've had different, they weren't always on the Franco side, they were on the other side of the street and down closer to
Wait a minute, which one are you talking about?
Ozzie and Mays.
Oh,
You wanna take it, Heather?
I guess. I would so, okay, that's fine.
Go for it.
The Finance Committee recommends acceptance of the following reports. Treasurer's Report number 2, the Cafeteria Fund for August, the Building Fund for August, and Capital Project Fund for August. And I so move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Finance Committee recommends approval of the following check registers and the September budget summary. The registers from August 17th, August 23rd, August 30th, September 2nd, September 2nd, September 6th, September 13th, September 20th, for a total of $1,713,056.12. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Finance Committee recommends approval of the following account custodians for high school PBIS activity account for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. The high school principal for the high school activity funds. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Finance Committee recommends approval of the following payment requests from MHE Engineering. For the athletic entrance, $3,704.50, and for the auditorium renovations, $1,533.40, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Just a note on that, as we talk, the value that is being issued to MHE for the entrance is part of the total value. It's not in addition to.
Correct.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Finance Committee recommends acceptance of the donation of a Yamaha Clavinova piano with the assigned value by the owner of $500 from Arlington Setzer to the Sullivan County Music Department, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye. The
Opposed?
Finance,
$500 piano?
Motion carried. Thanks to Arlington for that. That was a nice gesture.
The Finance Committee recommends approval of the Sullivan County Elementary PTO Games of Chance license, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Over to buildings and grounds, unless there's
No,
anything else, or athletics and health. You gonna take that, Joe? Thank you.
Item A, the Athletics and Health Committee recommends acceptance with regret of a letter of resignation from Derek Higley as varsity assistant wrestling coach, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item B, Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval of the addition of Derek Higley to the volunteer coach list, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I want to just say thanks to Derek for the time that he did put in as coach, and it's good to see him come back in on the volunteer list for sure.
Item C, the Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval to hire Deb Lindner as the varsity golf coach effective retroactively to the start of the 2022 golf season, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I guess we could say thank you because the
Motion
season's
carries.
over tonight.
Yeah, she stepped in when
We had
we
to
had a resignation, a rather short notice resignation. So, okay, item E, the Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval of, item D, excuse me. The Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval of Danielle Kinsey as the Drama Club Advisor, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item E, the Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval of Sue Kinsey as the Assistant Drama Club Advisor, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item G, the Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval of Stacy Strabilla as the Enrichment Advisor, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, you skipped.
Yeah.
You skipped
Opposed?
that.
I know, we don't do that.
It was approved earlier.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
There's a reason.
Thanks for the memo.
Anyone opposed to G? Motion carried.
Item H, the Athletics and Health Committee recommends approval of Ryan Zagady as the Band and Chorus Advisor, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item I, the administration recommends the approval of Taylor Baldwin as the girls varsity coach, and I so move.
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before we go to buildings and grounds, just clarity on F, if you were looking at that on the agenda, it was actually already solidified previously, which is why we skipped over that. It was just noticed a few minutes before the meeting, so really no action required on that. Mr. Fitzgerald, buildings and grounds.
Item A, information, the Building and Grounds Committee hosted a presentation by the Sullivan Foundation at the September 13th, 2022 committee meeting. Item B, information, the Building and Grounds Committee received use of facilities requests from the following district activities. 1, the SCHS National Honor Society Laurel Chapter induction ceremony on September 26, 2022. 2, SCHS Boys Basketball Open Gyms. Item 3, SCHS Boys Basketball Weight Training. Item 4, SCHS Wrestling Strength and Conditioning Workouts after school. Item 5, SCHS Wrestling Strength and Conditioning Workouts before school. Item 6, Open House in SCHS on October 5th, 2022. Item 7, Golf Team End of Year Dinner. Item 8, Homecoming Dance on October 8th, 2022 by the student government. Item C, the Building and Grounds Committee recommends approval of the school, use of the school facilities request from the after-school Bible Club for the elementary music room from October 5th, 2022 through October 26th, 2023, or April 26th, 2023, from 3:30 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item D, the Building and Grounds Committee recommends approval of use of facilities request from the Sullivan County Wrestling Club for the wrestling room on Mondays through Wednesday from November 14th, 2022 to April 26th, 2023, from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item E, the Building and Grounds Committee recommends approval of the use of the school facilities request from the Sullivan County Youth Basketball for the elementary gym on weeknights from November 14th, 2022 to March 31st, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Item F, administration recommends adoption of a resolution of the Board of School Directors of the Sullivan County School District authorizing the President of the Board of Directors to sign the deed to finalize the sale of land to the Oil Sock Foundation, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Doug, did you want to say something? Did you say that you wanted to say something?
No, just in the executive.
Got it. Before we go to vote, we'll do a roll call. I just wanted to comment that thanks for the presentation earlier this month, and I think it's a great project and a great vision. And our hopes are that, you know, as we move forward, circling all the way back to the beginning on that school connectivity piece, that we can kind of hopefully do the best we can to connect the dots on that. One clarification too, Frank, we had got into dialogue in regards to, you know, traveling through the school property over to the wellness center in some form or fashion. And there was some comments that, you know, the board was not in favor of that. I think that went back a couple boards ago, but I believe that where we stand now is that pretty engaged board with trying to do the best we can with the kids of the district. So, you know, to get to the point, I think it'd be awesome if, as you guys move forward with the project, to look at some of the things when we said, hey, let's get creative. How can we make some things happen? Here's an obstacle, a roadblock on going out to 42 and going down the, you know, the new road. So that's just the comments that I wanted to make. And our hopes are that some of the things on phase one are something that benefits the kids of the district, and we work together to figure out how to make that happen. There's probably complications and hurdles that are going to come along the way. And then certainly phase two, which is part of the exciting pieces of use also. So that's, I don't know if anyone else wants to make a comment, but I wanted to make sure that I commented on that before we move forward and get things finalized.
I guess I do want to say, I mean, this goes back 21 years. You know, Darla Board's bringing that with the Rec Association, using the property here on or close to the district in order to develop a county program. And we've got to start somewhere. So any movement forward, I think, is positive movement.
Well, thank you. I think that, you know, we're looking forward. I mean, we're at the point where we're gaining steam and traction, and so that's very exciting. There's, you know, it's in the concept design stage, so there are a lot of hurdles that we're, you know, got to kind of get over. But, you know, raising money and figuring it all out, it's I think it'll be a great thing for the county and for the community as well. So, you know, as I said before last week, please, you know, reach out to us if you have any questions. You know, go out there and see what we're doing. You know, we're here to facilitate that as well. So we're just really excited that we are moving forward, and yeah, it's been a long time. I know Frank's been working on it for many years. A lot of people in the county, they've been really working on this. So I think there's, you know, it's a plus. You know, we're heading in the right direction. So thank you.
Good deal.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on what they said. I can't wait to see what happens, and I hope the kids can benefit from it.
All right, roll call,
Blasi,
yes?
Derlin, Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McCusker, yes. Nolan,
Yes.
Stockdale?
Yes.
I was gonna say, he couldn't hear us. 8 yeses.
Motion carried. Nothing else, we'll move to curriculum.
Just one item for curriculum and student activities tonight, an informational item. The Curriculum and Student Activities Committee was provided with a list of Sullivan County High School textbooks for disposal. That's it.
Thanks. Anything else or questions for Mary Elise? If not, we'll go to personnel.
Item A is informational. The Personnel Committee was notified that a paraprofessional staff member, Chris Nachinsky, has moved from 6.75 hour days position to an open 7-hour day position. Item B, the Personnel Committee recommends acceptance with regret of a letter of resignation from Melissa Mavis as a secondary English teacher effective September 20th, 2022. Do we have to do a motion for resignation? And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Personnel Committee recommends the addition of Barb Cawthor to the list of approved substitute custodians, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item D, the Personnel Committee recommends approval of a request for FMLA leave for a professional employee. Due to privacy, we're gonna give out the employee's number and not a name. And the number is 100707, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
E, administration recommends the hiring of Danielle Kinsey as a secondary English teacher at bachelor's step 1 with a starting salary of $57,875 to begin on September 21st, 2022, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Administration recommends the hiring of Arthur Carnes as technology director with a starting salary of $78,000 to begin upon release from his current employment, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Administration recommends the
Motion
hire.
carried.
What?
It's okay, motion carried.
And that's
Oh,
Mr. Carnes sitting back there.
Oh, no, we were
Congrats.
wondering if that was you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to start.
Yeah. When you started? No. G, administration recommends the hiring of paraprofessionals. 1, administration recommends the hiring of Barbara Bender as a paraprofessional with a starting rate of $12.75 per hour to begin on September 21st, 2022, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
2, administration recommends the hiring of Stacy McBride as a paraprofessional with a starting rate of $12.75 per hour to begin on September 26, 2022, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's all for personnel.
Thanks. Policy and procedure.
Item A, Policy and Procedure Committee recommends acceptance of the following policy for first reading. Number 1, Policy 903, Public Participation in Board Meetings.
Second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And transportation. Transportation committee recommends the addition of Danielle White to the list of approved drivers. I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who was the second? Shelley?
Aye.
Heather?
Opposed? Motion carried. The Transportation Committee recommends approval of an agreement with Cherry Township related to activity bus run while the Route 154 detour is in effect. I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on that?
That was reviewed by our attorney.
Yes, it was. Correct.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. The administration recommends an addition to the list of parent guardian drivers for student transportation to and from school while the Route 154 detour is in effect with mileage reimbursement at the IRS reimbursement rates starting retroactive to September 19th, 2022. I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I had something on transportation. I know there was an email sent out about the activity bus, because I've getting a lot of questions about it. I thought we discussed it last spring about making it so there was an activity bus every night.
Well,
That there's
Transportation
activity.
Committee can still do that. We've taken no action on that yet.
Is that what?
I think we need to make a motion to,
Well-
amend our days.
Well,
Is that it?
we've got the days now, and that's what we had a discussion today with Ryan. We'll make sure that we have the buses scheduled when we need them, and we'll probably be doing that like in the spring when we,
I heard yesterday that, and I don't know if it's true or
Yeah.
not, but that tutoring had to be canceled because there was no activity bus. Like, to me, that's something that's pretty important.
No, tutoring is assigned by, I've said like a teacher would coordinate tutoring and then let us know, but they should be looking at the activity bus. I'd hate to run $1,500 worth of buses for like one or two kids. Like if they could coordinate that when we already have the activity runs,
Well, I get that.
I
I
mean,
wasn't
it
sure
would-
if one of the
it would
parents
work
just-
out.
I was at a game last night, one of the parents had said something to it, about it, and I was like, well, that's.
no, I want to make sure that we have a robust tutoring program in the afternoon. And that,
Yeah.
and that's why I said like before, the teacher would have to coordinate with administration. I said, no, the teacher coordinates with the kid, whatever's good for the kid and the teacher. But I'd like for the teacher to look to make sure that we have transportation available. I don't want to strand anyone. But like if we only have a couple kids, I don't want to run the buses either, So if the administrators, I think that went out in an email, but we talked about that this morning. I want to make sure that everyone's talking to everyone else to make sure that we're not planning something where we'd be stranding kids, or if we need an activity run, that we schedule it and then we add those days.
Well, because I think that there's been days this year that you did need activity buses, because, my junior high kid one day didn't have an activity bus, and I don't understand why. Because I thought we discussed it last year, you said we didn't take motion on it, so maybe that's what we need to do, is to.
Yeah, see, I almost want to do it like when we need them, because I hate to say, we'll schedule 175 activity days, and then we'll have buses when we don't have any kids.
I get that, and I don't want to have scheduled when there's not supposed to be activities, but if there's activities, I think then there should be buses scheduled, especially now considering you have this big detour where parents, I heard from a parent tonight that said she had to pick and choose which kid to take someplace because there's no activity bus.
Well,
So
how
she had
about-
to go get one kid from up here, and her other kid couldn't go someplace that she wanted to go to an activity because of that, and
How about if there is a motion, the motion would be that the athletic director can create an activity run day as he determines we need. Yeah.
Yeah, I think-
So then, like, if we have you know, weather-related delays or whatever, or like the junior class does something and we have all these kids in the building, or you know, who knows what we could have, that he could just say, I'm programming a day. He gets in touch with the contractors and coordinates a day, and then he could just do that. Because that would be an administrator doing it, and he's not just gonna add days, you know, for no purpose.
So like on Thursday, there's no activity bus, but there's varsity soccer away and softball away. So what else would be having practice on Thursday?
Boys, soccer, cross country.
I feel like this conversation's a little out of order. We talked about not doing this to our administration. We talked about the idea that we would send these things so they could research it. Like we're looking up things on phones and we're making plans, and that might not actually be in the best interest of kids in our district. Like we should give people time to figure this stuff out. I agree that it's important, but it just feels a little out of order to be rushing to try to figure this out. Like,
I agree, but we talked about it before and adding dates so that this didn't happen. And then I'm getting emails from parents who are upset because they don't have a bus.
I understand that, but we should go through the proper protocol to
Right.
get
Since-
it done.
Absolutely.
This isn't it.
Since we have 143 days down, we're not gonna run out of them until the next meeting comes around, you know, so we can discuss this in committee.
Well, I think,
Or come up with a plan.
here's what I think.
So I can just direct the athletic director to ensure that we have coverage for the days that we have activities.
Until October.
What I actually took, what I was gonna say is we really shouldn't and can't
I should
just.
have planned a tutoring for the days that they want.
Lee wants to make a motion.
We have a 10th board member today.
I think what we can do is allow Doug to let Mr. Sullivan do what's required between now and the next committee meeting or board meeting, and then if we deem necessary to make a motion to make that, you know, we can retroactively do that, and that way there's coverage. I mean, I don't wanna speak out of turn, but I agree that we should have coverage if there's a necessity, and I don't think we're gonna run out of days. So, and if we have to make other concessions, then we do. So.
And we just have to be careful, it's not just athletics, because people make plans based on what they see on the calendar, and then if it's changed because of athletics.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I want everyone talking, because if we have other organizations, you know, we do have tutoring going on. We do have elementary programs, you know, like with this, the Bible club for the kids, all that. So we have all these kids, and just because we have a cancellation of a game, we should be, you know, we should make sure that we're talking to everyone, that we're not canceling that day when we have,
Yeah, and
you
I
know,
think the reality
60
of it
kids in
is,
the building.
because I'm one of those parents, like, there's times when there's a total reliance on the activity bus, because your child is at school in a safe place, then to the activity bus, where it's like, okay, I don't have to be there at 4, I can be there at 5:40 when the bus hits the stop, and when suddenly it's, you know, so, yeah, I think, are you good with that? Awesome. Thanks for bringing it up.
How full is Forbin?
Who's that?
How full has Forbin?
Not full, and I actually asked Mrs. Hatton for reports from last year, because they track every day how many students ride each of the activity runs. The highest number that we had cumulatively across all 3 runs was 50 across all 3 buses. The average was 20 students across 3 buses, and we did actually have 3 days where we had the activity bus available, but no students were actually present to ride the bus, which those are the days that we want to avoid. That's why we don't have 180 days programmed in from the start.
But what I'm referring to is
for the
Dushore
drop off.
Mildred bus now drops the Shunk, Forksville, Hillsgrove kids off down in Cherry Township.
Yeah, we've got a contingency for that.
Yeah.
If we would have the numbers in that day, we would have another contractor that's available locally and is actually offered that he would pick up those kids and drop them off for SC21 in Cherry Township.
Okay.
So, yeah, and, you know, I also charged Ryan with keeping track of making sure that the activity runs are on those days. You know, because when we look at averages, we were a couple of years ago sending buses out on days that we had no activities, and then we were using up our contract time. So we have to make sure.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We should.
You know, so the averages are skewed because there were no kids on, there were no activities to count. So, you know, we just have to make sure that we're using our resources wisely so we can use them on the other days when we actually had kids in the building.
10-4. Just before we adjourn, just to go around for the board. Joe, do you have anything?
No.
Do you have anything else, Aaron?
Yeah, I just had one other question. I had heard some stuff about an athlete of the week. What's going on with that?
And it will be announced tomorrow morning on the announcements.
Just starting that this week?
Yes, this is the first full, well, last week was the first full week every sport was able to compete, so, yeah.
And you were waiting on items to arrive, right?
Yeah, we have our shirts, so.
Cool. Have anything, Krista?
I don't think so. Ryan, you're doing good. You're not like overwhelmed or anything? Okay. I feel like every time we're throwing more at you, so I want to make sure you're doing good. Thank you.
Shelley?
I'm good.
Mary Louise?
Yeah, I wasn't here for committee meetings last week. I watched the recording afterwards, but I did just want to speak to, we had a curriculum committee working session last Monday, I think that was the 12th, and just kind of what we talked about there. We talked about two of the big goals from the comprehensive plan that are aligned to our committee's work. One is the PBIS initiative that was launched this year. If y'all aren't familiar with PBIS, it's basically a system of rewarding students, like keeping track of the good things students are doing and teaching students what to do to contribute to a positive classroom environment instead of what not to do. So instead of saying, don't run, you say walk, you know, for example. And so admin team has worked really hard to get that going this year, and the goal is to kind of get that program going with Fidelity this year. So that's going really well. We just talked about how that's going, the different trainings, and how it's going with the kids, and it sounds like it's all really good. Admin team is going to send out the handbooks to us, just so if you want to learn more about what this is, you can be informed. And then the second big project that we talked about, again from the comprehensive plan, is aligned to curriculum writing and data analysis. The teachers and admin are taking a really close look at the curriculum being used and making sure it aligns to state tests, standards, all these different pieces. There's a couple different people leading this work. And then the really important thing that's happening too is the use of data to figure out what our kids need from instruction. You know, I know a lot of us have been concerned about the effect the pandemic's had on student learning, and so that's what they're doing, is they're looking at the data they're receiving and seeing what needs to be done. So that's, again, if you have more questions, there's more details in the notes. I just wanted to share it publicly. I know the board's seen it, but just so the public kind of knows what was there as well. So any questions, feel free to send them to me or admin.
Awesome. Heather? The only thing I had was on the 7th of September, we did have a board retreat. We had a session from God, I'm slipping me, PSBA, and which was pretty good. We talked about some futuristic goals and board collaboration. I think we're doing well with, as you guys are seeing with the committees, there's a lot of breakout committee meetings. If anyone in the community wants to be part of any of those, again, please speak out. We're trying to publish them. If there are committee meetings that exist outside of essentially the committee of the whole, they will be published, so you have the opportunity to attend those. Hal, do you have anything before we adjourn?
I don't have anything at this time.
Does Lee have anything? All right. If nothing else, then motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. And then I gotta sign.